Kevin Klein is so over the top. That was the wackiest part to me. I kept thinking like, man, they unleashed this dude.
He is ridiculous.
I was so amused by the idea of the director behind the camera going like, more.
You have to ruin this life to make people trust you.
More.
People are always taking advantage of you.
More over the top.
What are you doing?
You're not doing enough somehow.
I'm thinking.
Holy shit, when did they rein this guy in?
Hello, movie lovers. Chris Lawler here alongside Justin Neal, and you're tuning in to a very special year-end episode of Back to the Podcast. It's been an incredible journey since we kicked things off in March, and we're thrilled to have you with us as we reflect on a year filled with cinematic adventures. From heartfelt dramas to adrenaline-pumping action flicks, 2023 had it all, and today we're diving deep into our year review. And we wanted to take just a small moment to express our heartfelt thanks to you, our early supporters. Your enthusiasm and engagement have been the driving force behind our channel's growth. If you're new here or have been enjoying our content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of film enthusiasts. So before we get started, we always take a moment to check in and find out what we've been watching. So Justin, seen anything good lately?
Yeah, I have something that I know that you will be interested in hearing about.
Okay.
Because it's something you brought up, which was the impetus for me watching it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh God, I haven't seen that. I need to watch that because it's got Monty Python cred.
Okay.
And that is A Fish Called Wanda.
Nice.
So when you brought that up.
Another great recommendation then.
Has that even been out? I don't even know if that episode is out yet, but when you brought that up, I thought to myself, holy shit, I have not seen that movie.
That's a shame.
I need to see that movie.
And?
I thought it was wacky.
Great.
So I didn't realize that it was a heist movie until you brought that up. And that's actually what sparked my interest. Like, oh, I think I was mistaken in what that movie was about.
Right.
Which is why I wasn't like queuing up to see it. So once I realized, oh, I was confused. I'll totally watch that. So first off, like Jamie Lee Curtis, she's fantastic.
She is, right?
Michael Palin and John Cleese of Monty Python fame, and John Cleese wrote this, which I didn't know. Anyway, he's good at playing hapless.
Yeah.
When you say 5 to 7, Miss Gershwitz,
As most of the Monty Python troupe are. But yeah, I just thought it was so interesting. It was a quirky, interesting sort of movie, and I want to go back and read a little bit more and tie it in with like John Cleese and Michael Palin and the Monty Python story. Like, how did this fit in within that story? And like, how did this come about? So that's something that I'm going to look into further, but I'm so glad that you brought it up.
I'm not surprised you didn't know about the heist thing, because like I remember as a kid when this movie was popular and the advertising was out there for it and it was such a popular film, the advertising didn't make it, I didn't understand it at all. And they kept showing close-ups of the fish and stuff. So I was like, okay, so it's about some fish. It didn't make any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't.
I saw that one late in life, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised with that one and thought it was great. Became one of my instant faves. So I'm glad you finally watched it and enjoyed it, man.
I can see why it's one of your favorites too. It's wacky. It's wacky. And around that time period too of like My Blue Heaven and things like that, I feel like it probably has a similar vein, does it, in that sort of wacky humor?
For me, yeah.
Kind of suits, where your head's at, which makes sense. Have you watched anything new and interesting recently?
Introduced her to Night and Day. It's a Tom Cruise movie with Cameron Diaz. We just threw that on. It's like, what's his character's name in Mission Impossible?
James Mangold directed that.
Who
Who's
directed
got a
that?
new one? James Mangold.
Okay.
He did the Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line.
Okay.
He did Ford versus Ferrari.
Really
He
enjoyed
did
that one. Yeah.
The Wolverine. Is it the Wolverine? I don't know. He was the one where he goes to Japan. It's supposed to be good.
Oh, okay. The actual, like, kind of halfway decent one that they did with.
That's the one
Hugh
that he
Jackman.
directed.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he's got something in the theater right now. Oh, he did Indy 5, which I see is on Disney now. Should I
don't know anything
I'm
about that.
hesitant to
Indiana
go.
Jones 5. Sorry, I wasn't
Yes.
there fast enough when you just said Indy 5, because we were already talking about Ford versus Ferrari.
You're
so I was like,
right.
Indy cars, like, okay.
Indy 500.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that was a
Yeah.
I followed
Gotcha.
your misconnect.
Go back though. Yeah, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, so Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is on Disney. I saw that and they're all on there, and we have Disney. We watch a lot of Bluey, which is a great kid show, by the way. That's probably the best kid show I've ever seen.
Okay.
Anyone who has kids out there watches Bluey, I swear.
so funny.
And it's so good.
You never know what we're going to talk about.
But I saw all of the Indiana Jones movies are on Disney,
Okay.
of course. And so I keep like circling back and
Should I watch
like,
it? I
do
know.
I? And then I'm like, I should watch it just as a completist, or I kind of give some like justification of why I should. And then I go to hit the button and there's a part of me that's like, yeah, but you just feel dirty. Like, I feel like I'm being exploited,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to feel good about it.
I like my original trilogy.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with being exploited
Yeah.
if I feel good about it, but this is the one that, like, I'm going to be exploited, I'm not going to feel good about it, and I'm just going to regret
Then just skip
it.
it.
So that's why I haven't hit play yet.
Night and Day. That was what we were checking out. Have you ever seen that one?
I avoided it because it was one of those, like, the whole movie, which I'm sure is well produced. You know what I mean? Like, everyone did their job. It's all in focus. Things blow up.
You 100% got it. I mean, it's just dumb fun.
It was one of those, like, I watched the movie in the trailer, which is okay, but this is a $200 million trailer, and the rest...
Oh, wow. It was fun. You know what I mean? Like, just throwing it on. And then, so we were looking for something new last night, and I was like, guess what's streaming is ER. And boom, we were 2 episodes in no time because it's such a good gripping drama, and it's so well produced and so well made. And we were hooked immediately into it. And it's like, now I can't wait to binge some old show.
I've never seen an episode.
Huh?
I've never...
No.
Not one.
Are you serious?
Not one episode of ER.
You weren't part of that Thursday night craze back in the 90s?
No.
Wow. It was a big deal in my household. My parents would sit me down and watch ER together, and yeah.
Totally. I get it. And I knew how popular it was. Who knows why I avoided it, but I avoided it. That's all I remember.
It's a shame.
I probably wouldn't now.
Give it a try, man.
Yeah.
Because we were like, will this even hold up? I'm sure this is just some like daytime drama kind of thing. And then we were watching it, and it's like really gripping and well produced. And then immediately I was like, Scrubs ripped off a lot of ER, and I don't remember that.
There are several things when I was looking at what to watch, for something new, like, at the end of the day, like my wife and I will look at each other and say like, oh, let's put on something if we're not too tired. And there's so many things this year that I want to see and that are queued up, but I haven't been able to watch yet. So that's something that I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Is not just what we saw and our opinion of that, but things that we want to see.
My list of shame.
It's on the list. I'm going to get to it. I just haven't yet. So there's plenty of that.
I mean, I missed out on the big ones this year. I still haven't seen Barbie and Oppenheimer.
I know.
So I'm looking. Oppenheimer isn't for rent.
Not yet.
Which I'm sure it's probably worth the buy, but it's not for rent. Barbie is up for rent, so that might be on the list in the next week or so when we've got some downtime. But I mean, just to start it off, I haven't seen some of the 2 biggest, blockbusters of the summer yet.
I'll probably buy both of those on Blu-ray.
Okay, so worth it then.
It'll be a thing.
Justin gives the thumbs up.
I need to watch them both several more times to really absorb them.
Okay.
And then I think I'm going to make something about a solo video about Barbenheimer and just sort of like existential crisis movies told from different perspectives and do a bit of a
that could be fun.
Deep dive into it in the way that I do. I'm going to set up something like that eventually. So
what did you come across that you were already thinking of that you missed that you want to, watch?
I really want to see Tetris.
Oh, perfect. It's on my list. And I did see it this year.
I think that's fascinating. It's the whole Cold War thing, which, we grew up at the end of.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the fall of the Berlin Wall.
This was a well-made movie.
It looked so good from the trailer.
It's so good.
And I love Tetris.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite video game of all time.
Well, I mean, who hasn't played Tetris? It's come on almost every single device.
It's iconic.
Since the end of this story that you watch in the movie.
Literally.
It's been re-released over and over again. It's on computers.
On every platform.
So seeing this bonkers, crazy story of how it came to be and the intrigue behind it.
Really want to
because
see that.
they don't have capitalism over there,
Right.
and didn't understand what was going on. It's such a good movie. We didn't expect to fall in love with it like we did. I'm glad that it's on your list and you haven't seen it. So
Of course, I really want to see Scorsese's new movie, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
It's like 4 hours long, and I just haven't had a chance to go in the theater to see that. It is what it is.
his movies get longer and longer, don't they?
That's what my wife always says. I want to see the new Alexander Payne movie, The Holdovers. I told you a couple of weeks ago, I think, about it, where he is a teacher at a prep school, and it's about a Christmas break when everyone leaves, and he has to stay there to take care of the kids that are.
Yeah, you did mention that
the
one. Yeah,
Holdovers.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
do want to see that. I also have you seen a trailer for the movie Paint with Owen Wilson?
No.
Which looks like a spoof of Bob Ross.
Oh, wait. I've seen images, not a trailer though yet. Okay.
Watch the trailer for that.
Okay.
I think that's something that I really want to watch. And also, Zach Braff came out with a movie earlier in the year with Florence Pugh.
Really?
And, oh my God, Morgan Freeman, called A Good Person. And it looks very Zach Braff.
Okay.
Like, did you see Garden State? Remember when that came out?
No, I've never seen any of his.
It's a very, like,
It's probably not my thing.
poignant.
It's not, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
And, heartfelt and but sad and real, and he's good at that, even if you don't like it, which is fine.
I'm glad you like it though.
That's definitely something that I do want to see eventually, but I'm going to have to be in the mood for that.
Okay.
I'm going to throw that back at you. What's on your list of shame for the year?
The Charlie Day movie. What is that one called?
Fool's Gold.
Fool's
No,
Gold.
Fool's Paradise.
So that one's up there. I can't really think of any other big ones right now that are on my list.
Okay, well then let's get into
to what we saw.
what did you see that you want to talk about?
I'm just going to start with what was the biggest surprise for me this year then.
Awesome.
The Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine.
I watched it.
I think everyone was the same way. It's not like this is like a Chris only thing. Like that's why that movie was so successful, was everyone was like, they're going to mess it up. It's not going to be good. And then it came out and everybody was like, this is pretty good. I really hope they make more stuff like this because this is so entertaining and so much fun. And it's great for people that love the games and know the lore. I don't know the games or the lore, but obviously, we wouldn't be where we are with like a lot of RPGs without Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So, of that stuff. So it's easy to still sit down and enjoy and understand. It wasn't like a deep, deep dive into like the lore where you needed to be a Dungeons and Dragons enthusiast to really enjoy that. It was fun for everyone, all ages. And I think they're already talking about a sequel. And I heard Chris Pine say that he's eager to step back into that role.
Sure.
I'm excited. You should definitely see that one as well over the break.
I already watched it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you hadn't seen that one yet.
I didn't say that. You didn't ask.
Oh,
You just started talking.
have you seen Dungeons and Dragons yourself?
I have, actually. I watched it with my wife, and she surprisingly liked it more than she was expecting to.
Yeah.
Because it was fun.
Yeah, isn't it?
And that's probably the smart play if you're going to make a D&D movie, is just keep it fun.
Right.
You don't want someone like me to do it, because I'll just make it
Dark. And
Mine will just, I'll go undead. Just
for
undead
the next 2 hours, I'm
everywhere.
going to shut my brain off and just have fun.
It's called popcorn.
I love that we laughed as hard as we did.
From what I've heard, they were kind of modeling sort of their strategy on Guardians of the Galaxy, which is make it funny and entertaining, and you don't have to explain a lot.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I think that's like a smart move, which is you don't want to get into the esoterica of like how spells work and shit.
Right.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Why did that happen?
He does this.
Because that's what it does.
That works for me.
Period.
That's about all I need.
Make it entertaining and don't explain too much.
And speaking of
Just
fun and entertaining,
go with it.
Vox Machina as well. If you did enjoy D&D, that animated show, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
That didn't really come out this year, so we'll talk about more stuff that came out this year, but it's D&D related.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, if you guys enjoy that, you might enjoy Vox Machina. So that's my kind of like big surprise one. So why don't you give me one? What was there a big surprise?
My surprise of the year was Bottoms.
Right. You talked about that. So that's not a show. That's a movie, huh?
That's a movie.
And that just came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did I talk about this?
You talked about it in our Facebook group. You made a post about it. If you want to talk to us more, you can always join the Facebook community over there, Back to the Podcast discussion, where we talk about more stuff even off the air. And that's where you were talking about Bottoms.
That's where I was talking about Bottoms.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. And that's the idea. it's just supposed to be fucking hilarious. It is foul-mouthed. It is curse-heavy.
Okay.
Funny girls with foul mouths, which I love.
All right, I'm down with that.
A group of lesbian girls in high school who start their own fight club at school in order to attract popular girls that they have crushes on.
It sounds bonkers, dude.
And it is foul-mouthed.
Wow.
It is offensive across the board, but that's what's great because it's told by the offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They lob grenades at everybody, including themselves, which I love. If you're going to do a comedy, no holds barred, especially on yourself, nothing is too serious.
Dude.
I fucking laugh.
You know, we both love watching movies that we recommend to each other. So I already wrote a note. What was that on? I know that's streaming.
I rented it on Prime.
Okay.
I love the script. And the first maybe 15 minutes, my jaw was open. I was going, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, I love this script. I'm so proud of them for this. This is really not easy to do. They spent a lot of time crafting these words and they're really solid and it's really well put together. And they don't linger like they stab with words and then move on to the next gag. Like it just goes. And so I was still laughing about one gag when another gag was already like happening.
Nice.
And then by the time I'm catching up with like how they made that leap, they had already leapt to something else. And that does not happen very often with me.
Okay.
It is a dark comedy.
That's like your bread and butter anyway. So
It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. I like it.
those are fun hidden gems then.
That was a hidden gem for me.
You created a fight club to get some coochie. You don't even know how to work that thing. I know y'all ain't tickling the pearl.
I just don't know if you're supposed to be talking to us like that, just like as a teacher.
What about Barbie and Oppenheimer, man? I know that was like the big event for you this year because I didn't get to go.
It was.
Which one did you see first again? I can't remember.
I did it right. I saw Oppenheimer
First and then saw Barbie second.
Go see the serious one first and the second one and then the funny one second. Except while it is funny, Barbie is also like there is layer of funny, but there's layer of serious with it the whole way.
Whole time. Okay.
It has something to say the whole time along with the jokes. Whereas with Oppenheimer,
I can't wait to check him out.
kind of wears it on its sleeve. You know what I mean? There's not much humor in Oppenheimer.
Okay.
But what's so cool about that was that it was unplanned and it's two completely different movies made by two completely different groups of people that both deal with existential crisis. They just literally could not be more different and they came out on the same day. I'm telling you, like the universe gave us Barbenheimer and I recognize that. And so I'm so appreciative.
It was such a strange phenomenon.
It was. This was, to me, when I think 2023, I think that's when Barbenheimer happened because holy shit, that's not going to happen again, something like that, unless they try to plan it. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. It's going to start happening from now on.
Because they're going to try and plan it.
As a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
But we can remember, and in 20 years, we're going to be saying this like, now everyone's fucking tired of it. But do you remember what started this?
Do you remember when? Yeah.
But this year for me, what was so great, and it's a phrase I heard recently, which is superhero fatigue. And it's like, well, thank whatever that everyone else is finally catching up. Like all the superhero shit did not do well, did they?
No. I mean, that Marvel's movie just came out.
So I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
everything's cyclical.
Yeah, right now, the only thing slated to come out next is the Deadpool 3 movie. There's a bunch of rumors, not that we're the Marvel channel or anything like that,
Far from
but
it.
there's a bunch of rumors that that's supposed to be the reset of the Fox and Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Deadpool's going to kill everybody. And they're throwing everything at this to make it the biggest budgeted like movie. Who knows what's real? Either way, I know I'm excited. I love the other Deadpool movies.
Getting more interesting, creative, diverse, original, not everything. Barbie, of course, is, but it felt like original content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was talking to the wife about it, the same thing. I was like, this is why I wanted to, take a look back at the year, because that once again, now that we're back at theaters and things are getting back to quote unquote normal with, filmmaking and stuff like that. Although the, strikes have been kind of crazy this last year.
That was a monkey in the wrench or a wrench in the monkey or a monkey in the gears, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good thing. They got what they were asking for, it looks like. And hopefully everybody's going to be happy and hold up their end of the deal. But I mean, you know, it was good to see movies get back out there. And I mean, once again, with Nolan being the artistic kind of guy that he is, you know, he likes the movie experience. He's like Tarantino in that way, where he makes movies to be seen in the movie theater. And it is not thinking about how can I make this to just go straight to Netflix or streaming or something like that. Like they want to give you an experience and stuff. And then what was the one, you know, last year, Top Gun Maverick was like the big experience to go back to the theater and see. So we're going to see more and more of those.
Steven Spielberg said to Tom Cruise after they reunited, because they split after War of the Worlds because Tommy went batshit on TV and started jumping on couches and everyone wrote him off as a Scientology nut when he should have been promoting his new movie, which was Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, and didn't do as well as it probably should have because all anyone could talk about was Tom Cruise.
The movie did as good as it needed to do.
Probably.
We all saw the same movie, right?
It was okay.
It was okay. It was pretty epic and stuff.
But from their point of view, it wasn't what the focus should have been on, regardless of how the movie was.
Right.
They hadn't really seen each other until apparently there was an awards gala or something like that in Hollywood where they got together. And it was after Tom Cruise Maverick came out.
Tom Cruise Maverick.
and Steven Spielberg walked up to him and shook his hand and said, "You single-handedly saved this industry."
I think that's probably why they even split that Mission Impossible thing into two parts as well, because they're making such epic Mission Impossible movies that really should be seen in the movie theater.
But did that one, I heard that one, I didn't see it, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying enough attention.
That's the thing.
There's so many Mission Impossible movies at this point.
You know what? I like Brian De Palma's Mission Impossible. That movie was great.
You're one of the original fans?
I saw that multiple times in the theater.
Wow.
I think that is a
Really?
well-crafted thriller. I like that movie a lot. And then after that...
Honestly, dude, John Woo's was such a big overhyped thing.
Oh,
and it wasn't that good. And then 3, I really enjoyed 3.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, JJ
it came back up.
and then
No, and I'm not writing off the whole franchise. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just am such a fan of the first one. I think it is
Okay.
really, really good. So I've always been a fan of that.
I
one.
know people that really like that, but when I remember going to see that one in the
You
theater,
were underwhelmed.
I was very excited for that one, and I did not enjoy it.
I got
You
you.
and I had different experiences, apparently.
That's fine.
It was very rare for me to not be like, yeah, that was so much fun, right? Like, I was like, nope, didn't like it.
But one I did see that I really, really liked, though, was Dumb Money with Paul Dano about the GameStop.
Oh, right.
situation.
I didn't catch this one yet.
That was a really, really good movie. Watch Dumb Money.
No, I had heard about that one coming out.
You'll like that.
And then it just sort of came out one day and everybody was talking about it. And I was like, how did I miss this? So I do need to go back and check that one out.
I think more than Oppenheimer or Barbie or anything like that, you will like Dumb Money.
I bet. I mean, once again, based on a true story, not everybody really even understood what was going on. I'm sure it's well made. Everybody was talking about it after it came out too.
One that I watched that I didn't even finish, and I don't know if I should. I was so kind of I don't know why I disliked, or it's not that I didn't like it. I don't know. It just didn't grab me, which is Wes Anderson's Asteroid City.
I missed that one this year as well, but yeah, no.
I only got halfway through it, and I don't know if I was just tired or if I wasn't in the right mood, which is probably closer to the point. You know what I
His
mean?
movies are that type of thing where you have to be I have to be in the zone for a Wes Anderson flick, because it's not just one of those things you can just throw on and watch in the background. You have to give it your full attention and be in the zone for that kind of quirkiness, right?
And I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or if I just mentioned it to a couple of people, but Jason Schwartzman was totally mimicking his character on Stanley Kubrick. Did I mention that before?
No, you haven't said that to me. No.
When he shows up, I was like, wow, he looks a lot like Stanley Kubrick. And then he started talking and it was like,
Because I work in trenches, battlefields, and combat zones.
Really?
Uh-huh.
and no one's going to know this because they're not nerds like me.
Yeah, I was about to say, who even knows really what he looks and talks like? He's not that well known like that.
I know what Stanley Kubrick talks like. And when he opened his mouth, I was like, he is basing his entire character on Stanley Kubrick.
That's so
like
cool.
It's this sort of Brooklyn thing. Most people don't really know. He's just...
I'm sorry not to be able to be with you tonight to receive this great honor, but I'm in London making Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
If it's any good, I guess I'll try to sell it to a magazine, now that you mention it.
And that's exactly what Schwartzman does.
I mean, once again, I'm not the Wes Anderson guy.
And I am.
His movies always look so good, and everybody's like, oh, but I love it, and I love it for this, and I'm so glad that you guys love those things, but they're not always for everybody, and for me, they're
not. They're specifically not for everyone. He could be his own class in college, you know, as an elective, because he's done enough stuff now to have created his own like subgenre of Wes Anderson movies. Like Quentin Tarantino movies are their own class.
When someone looks at it, they're like, that's this director's style, right? You know, there's so many movies out there where I'm like, this could be anyone directing this movie because this is like a studio movie that they've made here. Like, there's no artistic value. It's going to be fun. I'm going to throw popcorn down my throat.
Everyone does their job the way they're supposed to do their job.
But, you know, you're right. Tarantino, Spielberg, right?
Scorsese.
Yep, there you go.
Like, I really want to see Killers of the Flower Moon because you could have a class just on Scorsese, and actually he's in that more even rarefied to where you can go eras within that body of work by like decade. You know what I mean? But like you're getting into 5 decades, not just 2 decades. Of course, we got Fincher's The Killer, which I want to watch again.
Yeah, you saw that one a couple weeks back.
My viewing wasn't the best.
Oh, really?
Well, kid issues waking up, so I had to like stop in the middle and watch on a different TV.
Oh, okay.
I was watching with subtitles because it couldn't be it was not the appropriate.
Did you see him on Graham Norton the other night talking about how
Fincher was on Graham Norton?
No.
Michael Fassbender?
Michael Fassbender.
I know, but
your face.
First off, I'm fucking total Graham Norton fan. Like,
are you for real?
I am.
Nice, but
I love Graham Norton.
Did you see him talking about how they had to buy special gloves for the movie?
So they're actually fisting gloves.
Say this again?
You heard him.
No, break this one down for me.
Did he say? Yes, he did.
Fincher really wanted him to have like gloves so that like he had like complete control over his fingertips and stuff. And so they bought fisting gloves.
I like the fact they come as a pair.
And then he started talking about how like they ran out of them.
But the thing is, we went through quite a few of them, actually. Because I was talking to the prop guy, and he was like, there's no more fisting gloves left.
And then they like couldn't buy anymore. And like
the west coast of America is without fisting gloves for a while.
Fisting gloves were on back order for some reason.
Great fisting glove shortage of 2023.
Yeah, it was a pretty good clip, man.
I'm going to look that up.
I would have never pegged you for a Graham Norton fan.
Right.
And I know that we're talking about something so random, but yeah, Graham Norton is definitely a great host.
What was your favorite of the year? Did you already say that?
Favorite of the year? It was Spider-Man. It was the
Across the Spiderverse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, once again, it was.
And I can even say I saw the first one this year, and that was fantastic. I loved that.
Yeah. I know you didn't really dig the sequel as much, but for me, I think that the sequel, like I said, I was halfway through that movie, and I was like, I hope this never ends.
One of my best friends totally agrees with you, and he actually sent me a message after he watched it, which is after that episode came out, and he was like, my dude, this movie is incredible.
Yeah.
So he was on Team Lawler on that one for sure.
Dude, it's once again, sequels are hard already. Spider-Man's already been overdone as well and stuff like that, you know, so it's always like, well, how are you going to do something new? They're doing something new. They're doing something incredibly refreshing. I know you were like, the world is ending and stuff.
But I don't see it as new. The animation is new, but what you're talking about is not new.
See, for me, I'm on the opposite side. I thought the second one was amazing. I couldn't look away. I thought it was a breathtaking adventure. I love that we changed kind of perspective over to Gwen Stacy.
Which is how it started. I talked about that on the last one. Like, I thought that was so interesting. It was a 30-minute cold opening.
Movie, right, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was a 30-minute movie, and then it went into a 2.5-hour movie.
It's Lord and Miller, right, that are doing those. And is this a franchise they're going to just continue with? You know, with voice actors, it's a lot easier to keep doing that because you just bring them into the booth, and then you have animators work on it and stuff like that. So it's not
okay,
like,
how long does it take for a voice actor actor to do a feature film like that. So what's the main actor's name for Spider-Man? What's his name? You've been talking about him.
You just put me on the spot.
Oh, I teed you up and you dropped it.
Why? For some reason my brain's not there this morning, and
He's gonna be in. He's one of your warriors.
I know, and I was talking about him just like a week ago, and I'm drawing a.
That's okay. I'll cut this out.
Shamik Moore.
There we go.
I feel so bad, Shamik.
I was teeing him up for you. This was his cue to
knock it out of here.
Net you for his Warriors project.
No, I know. I'm such a huge fan, and my brain is just not there. My bad. I just could not pull it out.
It's okay. He really is a big fan
from the depths of the darkness back here. So anyway,
that's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would take. Depends on if they need to come back and do that. But I mean, what, a couple of weeks to months?
Oh, you mean periodically, not 12 hours a day for months? Okay.
Not probably consistently. I mean, once again, the most famous voiceover thing that happened was Mike Myers did the entire Shrek, and then they brought him back to redo it. Actually, what was it? Chris Farley was started off as Shrek, and then Mike Myers took over. And yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, no. Chris Farley was Shrek originally.
Or if I did, I don't remember.
Yeah, and then he passed away.
Was it his untimely?
Yeah, and then he passed away, and then so Mike Myers stepped in, and he did the entire movie, and then they realized it's not working. So he was like, let me try a Scottish accent, and then he came back and did the entire film again.
I knew that, but I didn't know that about Farley.
Yeah, man.
Had he started work or he had just been cast?
I honestly, I can't remember. It's been so long since I heard that tidbit. I can't remember if he had actually begun recording.
I didn't know that. That's one for the lore book.
There you go.
I like those tidbits. I mean, what do you think we do? We collect those. So thank you for that piece of trivia.
Yeah, exactly. Boop, boop. Locked it.
That's going in the archives.
I mean, for me, Spider-Man was my big one.
Cool.
Anything outside of Oppenheimer and Barbie and, a few others? Was there anything else that was huge on your...
Actually, my biggest thing that I just want to say, I'm just happy we started this and it reignited my... desire to go to the theater and to watch movies, because when we did have the little kids, it was harder because I couldn't watch as much. And I knew that we would come out of that, which we are, but this show is what turbocharged it and really set it into gear. I'm now I need to, not only do I want to, but this gives me now I have to.
Gives me fuel, right?
And that's something that I enjoy so much, and that is talking about movies. That's why we started this, because that's what you and I do. We talk shop, and I feel like cinema as a whole has its own language like that. Not just how movies are told, but in the way we talk to one another. We speak in quotes, we speak in references, we speak in things like anamorphic and aspect ratio and film stocks and all this esoterica that if you're not part of it, you don't even know what most of this stuff means. And once you get drawn into it, you speak that language. And that is something that this year brought back for me. This show gave me a chance to speak my language that I love speaking.
Yeah, I find this fun too. I mean, once again, me and the wife, we were going down a spiral and rewatching stuff. It's always fun to have your comfort foods and stuff. This has gotten me a little bit back out of my comfort zone and making sure that I'm taking leaps and watching stuff that I wouldn't normally watch, just to make sure that I'm, going back to the things that I loved doing as a kid, which was just experimenting, watching movies.
You, sir, have a wonderful holiday. Everyone out there, have a wonderful holidays. Be safe, love the people around you, and watch good movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy holidays to everybody out there. And that wraps up our final episode of the year here on Back to the Podcast. What a ride it's been, right, man? From our humble beginnings in March to this fantastic community we built together, it's been nothing short of amazing. As we take a well-deserved break to spend time with our families, we want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of our journey. Remember, while we're recharging our batteries, keep your eyes peeled, like Justin said, for some exciting content we've lined up for you over the break. We'll be back in the new year with more in-depth discussions, reviews, and all the cinematic goodness you've come to expect from us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and tell us in the comments what your favorite movie moments from the year were. All of us here at Back to the Podcast, we're going to tell you to have a fantastic holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye-bye.